Hello, my name is Natalie, and I am doing well. First of all, I did a reading for myself, and I wanted to share what I saw, and maybe it will resonate with somebody else out there. So basically, I've been feeling I've been feeling very overwhelmed these days. All this change, all this shifting that's been happening in my body and in my spirit. And I felt like this. And this is the first card that flew out as I touched my deck. The Hanged Man. If you're familiar with tarot, right, the Hanged Man actually represents the state of being in limbo. Like you're waiting. You're waiting your execution, basically, right? You've had the justice card, meaning you went to trial, right? You've done what you had to do. You went to trial. You got judged for it, right? And you're being sentenced. You're in that waiting cell. You're in a holding place. You're in a place where you're thinking about everything that you've done up until this point, right? And you're waiting for the death card, which would be the transformation. You're waiting for the old you to go away so the new you can be born. And one thing I've learned is a lot of people transform when they're in isolation, because isolation really does shield you from everybody else, and it really gets you back in touch with yourself. It gets you back into your own mind and helps you to understand who you are, what you want, what you think, what you feel, how you act, right? And all of those things without the influence of others. You get to just really be you and God, you and the divine. And so this is a very spiritual place to be, although a lot of people don't like being in this place because it's uncomfortable. Because while you're in this place, everything else in the world around you is going to continue to go. Think about when people are in prison. A person could go to prison and they went to prison in the 90s and they're just now getting out, right? They had to understand and realize life moved on. While they were there, and what they went through and all the growth and all the changes and all the things that they've learned to be conditioned in that position, right? All those things have happened to them, but the world around them was changing. Technology changed, right? There's different apps now. There's a different style. There's a different way to talk. There's different things that we're doing, cars and houses and, different and the people around them they once knew have grown older. They've made different decisions. They've changed. While you're here in this state, you can feel, although you're doing all this changing internally, you feel like you're not catching up and you're not keeping up with the change that the world is making around you. Meaning that you may be place doing all this inner work, but the people around you, they're getting these six-figure tech jobs, right? The people around you, they're living in the high rise. People around you, they're getting, their businesses is making a 5 figures, a month or in a day. You got people around you who seem like their life is moving forward and moving fast, and their timeline is a timeline that you wish you could have. So you're feeling left out, even though you're being called to this this sacred space where you're in the sanctuary of you. It's very hard to appreciate that when you are not able to see the inner work that you've done be simultaneously reflected on the outer work. But everything happens in a spiritual plane before the physical. So unfortunately, you're not seeing the progress that you have already shown to spirit. And as a result, I see you feeling overwhelmed. I see you feeling frustrated. I see you feeling on edge. I see you not even really able to understand and give yourself the type of props that you deserve for the awareness that you've achieved and the amount of growth and development you've done. Sometimes it's hard to give yourself the credit where it's due. right? Like, you are not able to give yourself the credit because you're not seeing the physical manifestations of all the work that you have done. You're trying to compare your spiritual growth to someone's physical growth, right? And at the end of the day, you shouldn't be comparing apples to oranges, but that's what you're doing. So Spirit is telling you to stop, for one. And for two, it's understandable that you feel overwhelmed, because look at all your blood, right, is rushing to your head, right? All this energy is going to your crown chakra, your third eye chakra, right? You're literally in a space where you're getting so many downloads. You're seeing yourself, all the things you want, all the things you want to become, all the things that you promised yourself. You're seeing it in your mind's eye, in your spiritual eye, and it is like you can see it, like you can touch it, like it's real. And then you wake up and you open your eyes and you're just in your same space. And it is frustrating. Sometimes it's even devastating, where you are, meant to be a millionaire on this plane, but right now you're struggling to pay your bills, right? It's frustrating to be in that position. But it's okay, because Spirit is telling you that your efforts are not unnoticed, okay? Your efforts are not unnoticed, but I do see that there's more work to do. You're in a place right now, especially if you're feeling like this is resonating with you. You're in a place where you've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. You've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. You've been doing a lot of spiritual work behind the scenes. Yes, you have. And I feel like all this work that you've been doing has been really, in essence, to help to remove any blockages that you create for yourself. Because of course you're going to find resistance and blockages from other people and for other things, but that should have nothing to do with you, right? But the things that you do to yourself, like the limiting mindset, right? Or you feeling stuck because you're afraid of success, or you're afraid of failure, or you're afraid of really doing anything outside of your comfort zone. The success, or just being stuck in a place because you don't know how to make a decision, right? Or being stuck in a place because you don't know how to let some shit go, right? Whatever the case may be, right? If you are finding yourself in a position where you cannot move forward because all you're doing is being stuck in your present moment, or even in your past, or your past is consuming your present moment to where you can't step away from that and move forward, this is why. Because you're doing all this inner work to release all of that. You're doing all this inner work and it's coming up, and it keeps coming up, and the lessons seem more harsh because you have to learn this lesson to your core. You have to learn this lesson to your core, right? It's almost like having to burn yourself on a stove. Your mom can say, no, look, leave that alone. It's hot. Leave that alone. Stop. And hey, you may even come close enough to it and you may feel the warmth of it. But it isn't until you actually burn your hand for you to realize, oh my motherfucking God. Okay? And some of us, that's not enough. Some of us got to get burnt even more. Right? Some of us don't understand, and we still go in again. Or we may try something different. Or we may try to fry some chicken and burn yourself with some oil. Or you might burn yourself with some boiling water. You might burn yourself because you tasted something too quick because you didn't want to blow on it. Whatever the case is, each time that's going to feel a little more intense. Close that door immediately. Now. I don't want any bugs coming in this house. So you keep that door closed. Okay, pick that up and go in the room. Pick that toy up and go in the room. Actually, no, give me that toy, because you keep throwing it. Here, give it to me. You're not going to get to throw that no more. Now you go sit down. Okay. So, at the end of the day, if you've been feeling like you've been stuck, it's because you're not allowing yourself. Oh, all right. What you want me to do? I'm trying to do the video. Go play with your ball. Okay. So being, yes, spiritual, and you're making progress with the shadow work that you need to do before, it's going to help you to what you want. So if you are dealing with healing your karmic patterns, right, where you are limiting in your mind, where you feel like you are not moving forward, or where you feel like you're having trouble letting go, when you start to work spirit up to the surface of who you are, when you do the work to do that, you're going to find yourself actually bringing the progress and the results that you've been asking spirit for. At the end of the day, spirit is guaranteeing your success. Spirit is saying you're able to move forward. And this next month is going to be amazing for you, considering, the Cancer season. So from the next couple weeks all the way to the middle of July, you will find progress moving forward. But the progress is hinged upon you choosing you. It's hinged upon you letting go of your people-pleasing behavior. It's hinged upon you trying to hold on to everybody while ascending. You can't. It's hinged upon you knowing and understanding that this life raft don't have no room for everybody. It's only enough for you, your spiritual team here, everybody. Because that means you gotta put yourself on pause or choose them over yourself. Spirit's continuing to tell you to choose you. A lot of the wealth and abundance that you have and that you deserve is going to come from you choosing choosing yourself and telling people no. That's really what it's going to come from. It's going to come from you choosing you. It's going to come from you saying, no, I can't. No. And knowing that no is a full sentence. It will come from that. Because again, Spirit is telling you, baby, you got so many motherfucking things your way. Things your way. You got blessings coming your way. You got money coming your way. You got jobs and promotions and sold out websites and book calendars and motherfucking, new things coming your way that shows your progress. It's on its way. It's coming. It's already here. But it's a matter of you choosing you first, right? Sometimes this even means saying, hey, listen, I'm in my prices. I know my worth. I know what I offer. I'm going to raise my prices. Even if that means, hey, you may not get as many clients. That's okay. Because Spirit is going to bring you clients that can afford you. Even if that means, hey, I won't be able to work at this job no more because they're not paying me. You're going to come up. We may feel like we're losing things, but really you have to go before your upgrade can come. You have to trade in your car before you get a new one. It is what it is, right? You have to get rid of things. You have to let things go. You're not going to get what you're asking for. We're still holding and occupying up space in your life that does not accommodate the new thing that you've been asking. Make your choices moving forward because you spent enough time in solitude. You spent enough time in your head. You spent time learning lessons. That's time for you to actually put them into action. You actually have to for the choices that you've made, especially considering how you may not have been too wise in the past, might not have known much in the past. People are so in the past that you are, you're not allowed to do that anymore. You're not allowed to put yourself last anymore when you know how devastating that is for your spirit. You're not allowed to put yourself in the positions that you have been before, that they don't serve you. You're not allowed to be around people who don't respect you. You're not allowed to be around people who accept you. You're not allowed to be in the same positions as you've been in before, because you know better. And what comes with knowing better is doing better. And when you don't do better, you're going to pay. Period. You're going to be right back in the same fucking position. And I guarantee you, if you're a person that's in a pattern, a perpetual pattern of choosing the wrong kind of friends or lovers, or being in dead-end jobs when you know you deserve better, or you've been in the same pattern where you've been kind of disrespected, unappreciated, unloved, when you have been in a position where you're constantly finding yourself, you make a choice. You have to draw the line in the sense at some point. Want to come to this next stage. When it's time to take yourself, you're not going to have the means to do so. Okay? Spirit poured into right now. You're being poured into by spirit. You're being poured into by your ancestors. The heavens into your cup, right? They filling you up, right? That's why you feel like you ain't able to really move forward now. You may feel stuck. You are up there in the spiritual realm with your ancestors, with your spiritual guides. You're up there with God. You're being poured into because you've had all these people drink out your cup and you had nothing left for yourself. Your self-esteem was down. Your spiritual energy was down. Your finances were down. Your job wasn't really giving you what you needed to give. You was in a position where you was all the way down. You're gonna let people suck you motherfucking dry. And being sucked dry and being in a position where you done took care of so many other people, been there for so many other people, and when you needed it, they turned back on you, or they couldn't give it back to you the way you could for them, or they weren't around because they was too busy with themselves. Whatever the case may have been, when it was time for you to be poured back into, like you poured so willingly and freely into other people, they could not give it back to you. And even if they poured into you, it was only a fraction of what you gave to them. Because people around you weren't able to meet you on your level. You weren't around people who were on your level, meaning that they love their energy, that they finances, that they motherfucking resources, or the wisdom, whatever they got was not on par with what you had. And see, when you sit there and you think about how the fuck you got where you are, a lot of times it's because you've entangled yourself with somebody else. A lot of times is you put yourself last and put somebody else first. You done spent $10 too much because you was trying to look out for somebody else. Or you done gave your last to somebody and now you need your last and you ain't got it. Whatever the case may be, right? You done did it and now here you are sitting there like, damn, I will never do that again. I cannot do that again. I cannot afford to do that no more because I can't afford to be hungry. I can't afford to have my lights off. I can't afford to have my motherfucking rent be late. I can't afford to not have gas in my car. I can't afford to not be able to afford to go to work because the gas is too high. Or I don't got nobody watching my kids. I'm too busy watching everybody else's kids. Whatever the case is, you can't afford to do that no more. And you know it. And you done been there and been there and been there and been there. You done been in bad relationships and you done said, I ain't never doing this shit no more. I ain't doing that. Next time a man talks to me crazy, I'm leaving immediately. And here you are letting the nigga talk to you crazy for the 5th time, 6th time, 10th time, 20th time in public, in front of your family, in front of your mama, in front of your kids, in front of social media, on live. You over here letting people treat you like that. You done said, I'm going to leave that job. They don't give me my raise. They don't make my money. They don't do this and that and the third. I'm leaving. And here you are still at that motherfucking job. And the problem is this. You keep doing the things that you said you wasn't going to do. Meaning that you don't even trust and honor yourself no more. Which is why your head doesn't feel connected to your body, because you don't even feel like you're able to move on because you don't trust yourself. You have to let go and forgive all the things that you've done wrong to you. You have to accept that, yes, you've been in these positions been in these positions. Okay, that this happened because it's over with. You learned the lesson and you move forward. You're not going back. But you have to make the choice to not go back. You have to put in the work to not go back. You have to make sure that you rewire your system, your nervous system, so you don't do the same shit you've been doing. You have to change your whole life. It means you got to move away from those people who are not able to give to you. You got to remove yourself from those patterns. You got to leave that damn job. You got to drop them damn clients who keep disrespecting your time or who don't want to pay your rate, right? You got to move. You got to move. And this is a month of movement. This is the month of momentum. This is the month of change and shift. Because you've been shifting and doing all these different changes in your spirit. You've been doing all this in your mind. You've been doing all this behind the scenes. And it's time to move it forward into your real life. So you feel like life is passing you by because you haven't been able to integrate this spiritual side of you with the physical you in your life. You ain't been able to merge those two together because you have to get past this belief system of limited mindsets, poverty consciousness, right? Unworthiness, insecurities, all the things that have brought you to the position where you have found yourself putting yourself last, abandoning yourself, people pleasing. Because you're not in those positions anymore. You're not that same person anymore. You deserve so much better. And you know you deserve better. But at the end of the day, you have to believe it. Knowing and believing are maybe two different things, right? Because one requires faith. One requires a blindness that you don't have to see any facts or proof or data to believe it. You have to understand and truly embrace your worthiness of the things you want, so you can have what you want, because the things that you believe is really what impacts you in your life. Knowing and believing, they're similar things, but they're not the exact same. And you have to learn how to invest faith in yourself. But the way to invest faith in yourself requires you to honor what the fuck you say and do what you promise you do. It means having the discipline, having boundaries. This means having to repair your relationship with your father, or replacing, or repairing your relationship to re-father yourself if you cannot get that physical relationship with your father intact. You may need to learn how to re-father yourself and learn how to give yourself that understanding about life that you now know and understand that you did not have. You didn't have that game before. You didn't have that wisdom before. You didn't know all those things, right? Your father is who teaches you your worth. Your father is who builds up your ego. Your father is the one who tells you you deserve to be treated like this. Your father is who helps you to understand who the fuck you are while your mother nurtures you. And a lot of us have been in a position where we have been remothering ourselves. We've been learning how to self-care and nurture and journal and blah, blah, blah. But it's time to do the work. Meaning that, yeah, you might have been cooking yourself some bacon, self-care. But it's time to go get the fucking bacon. And the way that you're going to go get that goddamn bacon is knowing that you need to go to sleep at 10 o'clock. So you can wake up at 6. So you can get up and get ready and get dressed and eat that bacon and then go to work, have the energy to go get some up. Meaning that you got to have a schedule. You got to have a routine. You have to learn how to give yourself restrictions sometimes. You got to learn how to give yourself restrictions sometimes. Did you boo-boo? No, you don't need that. Get out of my shirt. What? Stink. No. No. Here, get down. Cause I gotta change your diaper. Okay, get down. All right. Well, I'm almost done anyway. So, anyway, you have to learn how to trust yourself. And sometimes this means that you don't really trust your father. Maybe you don't really trust him. Maybe he hasn't come through. Maybe he hasn't shown you how to be a person of your word. Maybe you didn't have an example of that. Maybe you've been manipulated by your father. Maybe you've been abandoned by your father. And then here you are abandoning yourself again. Whatever the case may have been, you are finally getting the position of being poured into, and ancestors telling you they got your back. Okay, it's time to move forward and create the choices that are best for you. And sometimes that means walking alone. Okay, sometimes that means understanding that you don't need to become dependent no more. Okay, it's time for you to learn how to stand on your own feet and know that you are powerful. You're able to do anything. But I do see things coming to a close soon, and I see your ability to bring forth the things of your desires, right? But it requires you to make your better choices than the ones you've been making in the past, and you have to hold yourself accountable. You have to hold yourself accountable, just like you hold other people accountable. You don't make excuses for yourself, and you don't make excuses for everybody else. And you say you're going to do something, and you fucking do it. And when you do, you will be standing in your power. Spirit says you are a very powerful person. You're very powerful, and you are going to be able to have the things that you want. But it requires you to choose you. This is somebody who's willing to stand on their own and know that they're powerful just for them, just for who they are. That they can create whatever they want. And that the life that they have is what they deserve. You have to know you deserve what you want. You have to believe you deserve what you want as well. It has to match. It has to be in alignment. So in one plane, you may understand that. In this one, you may not. And it's time to make peace with the parts of yourself that don't feel it so you can have it. All right. Well, it's time for me to go change my baby's diaper. What? All right, bye-bye. Stop yelling.